There are many different sites that you can use to host your podcast. Now, the reason why you want to go down this route is it's just going to make your life a lot easier in the long run. Simply because when you upload to these podcast sites and hosting podcast sites, they will actually host it and they will actually generate a RSS feed for you so that you don't have to. It just makes your life a lot easier. There are many different sites, but we can recommend one particular one called Podomatic. That's Podomatic.com. If you go to Podomatic, you can actually create a free account. They have pro level accounts, but the free level account is just good as well. But you can also add tracking and other things like that if you want to go pro. Now, the free account, as you can see, the current usage allows you to have about 500 megabytes of files. That means you have 500 megabytes of audio files. Bandwidth is the amount of visitors who listen to your podcasts. So obviously 15 gigabytes is a good amount, but 15 gigabytes can go fairly quick as well. But this is just a great way to start out and test how well your podcast is going to go. Obviously, when your podcast grows, then you can grow your account as well. There are other sites out there like podbean.com, which is cheap. It's not free, but it's fairly cheap. It's $3 to begin. You have 100 gigabytes of monthly bandwidth. In my opinion, that's actually fairly cheap, but you only get 100 megabytes of monthly storage. So as you saw with Podomatic, you get 500 megabytes, so that's a lot more, but you do get a lot more bandwidth. The bandwidth is actually when you got 100 gigabytes, that's a lot, and unmetered means unlimited. So that means you can have 300 megabytes, which I will admit that doesn't really, 100 megabytes is a good amount already. Generally speaking, one audio file is about generally 2 to 3 to 5 megabytes. So even with the $3 amount, you have a good amount of space, or 300 amount, you have a good amount of space. So Podbean is another great site to go to. You can also go to Google and type in podcast hosting. Now, before you actually jump on, I'd actually find some and do your due diligence. Do some research on the podcast companies before you actually jump on it and see what other podcast people are saying. But I definitely recommend that you try out Podomatic first because that's what we're going to be using in this video series.